Lauren Ashli.
Mm-hmm.
First question.
Yeah.
Where were you born? When is your birthday? What's your sign?
Ooh, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, East Side to be exact. So I'm a Georgia peach to the core. Southern girl, I'm very proud of it, and I will scream it to the top of my lungs. My birthday, September 10th, 1994, and I am a Virgo.
The birthday is like literally one day after my mom.
Shout out to her. She's a wonderful woman.
And she's a twin.
That's crazy.
A lot of twins right in my family. That's why I don't trust women. That makes sense?
No.
So like all the women in my family have twins.
What does that have to do with being trustworthy?
It's just too dangerous. You always get two of them. That's what my uncle said. So like it's like 9 sets of twins on all of.
That's a lot of twins.
I'm talking about first cousins.
That's a lot of twins.
My mom's a twin. So my grandma had twins. My mom's sister had twins. Her daughter had twins. My dad's sister had like.
Do you have twins?
I only got one child. One is done.
Your child might have twins.
The best gift God ever gave me was good knees.
Oh.
Got to get up out of there. So, who is your creative muse? Before we get into why you're the muse.
My creative muse? What is it like?
Creative muse would be in any of your fields. You got a wide array of talents, but let's just say whatever's burning in what's your burning passion right now? Who do you look to as like, that's my mark. Like that's not necessarily want to do exactly what they do, but they inspire you. You check what their stacks are, what their projects are to get inspired.
Well, one of my biggest inspirations is Debbie Allen. She is just phenomenal and very well-rounded dancer.
She Virgo?
No, she's not. Her birthday actually just passed. I wish Debbie Allen was a Virgo. I would hold on to that.
That makes so much sense, though. Knowing what I know about you, that makes so much sense.
Debbie Allen is a really big influence to me, or for me, in the sense of that she's a filmmaker, but also a dancer, and she has her own dance studio, her own dance conservatory. She puts on live productions, which is something I'm aiming to do in the future. Beyonce is another huge inspiration to me. Yes, I love her music, but I just think she is creatively so amazing. Like, just flat out amazing. Fatima Robinson is a choreographer.
I know Fatima Robinson.
I love Fatima. Oh my gosh, Fatima is...
It's another person you remind me of.
Really? That's a huge compliment. Because I really just love, for one, the quality of her projects, but then she's so intentional with how she choreographs or how she stages productions or how she works with dancers or the projects she selects. And I just really, really, really want to be that selective with my work as well. So yeah, I would say right now, those are like my top three.
June Ambrose is?
No. I should Google her.
Should look her up.
June
Ambrose.
I should look her up. I'm going to look her up.
Some night you'll text me like, oh my God. But I always say dancers or choreographers that go into other realms of media or art have a cheat code.
What's the cheat code? Oh, just, okay.
Because you're a choreographer. Like, choreography there's a rhythm to everything art. So it's a rhythm to how you dress. There's a rhythm to how you put together your production. There's a rhythm to how you talk. It's a rhythm to it's a beat. Like, we was just off camera and you was like, I got a song in my head all the time. That's how art works.
That's very true.
So being a dancer or a choreographer, y'all always find the beat in whatever y'all do.
Right, and I think like even when I'm not working with dancers, like even if I'm just working with actors, but being a dancer, being a choreographer, it helps me with placing people, and like movement, whether they're extras or whether they're just people that, for a non-scripted project or something. It's just knowing how to place people, knowing how to frame people. I learned a lot of that from framing and staging and dance as well. So I definitely agree. My mind is always working and music is always going. And I can always visualize what I'm hearing. So it's a blessing.
So that kind of messes up one of my questions.
Okay.
Like I went and did my research, and I was like, God damn, like you got a wide array of talent.
Thank you.
Dance, right? Model, right? done broadcasting. You play an instrument.
That is crazy that you found. What? I don't play an instrument. That's the only thing I don't do.
You play piano?
I used to.
Yeah.
But what research did you do? Because like what?
So I'm like, which one is probably which one you most passionate about? But I think it's dance, whether you know it or not. Because dance gives you the rhythm to everything else.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm about to get emotional. I always get very, very emotional, and this is the beginning of the interview, so this sucks.
I got you already.
But dance is how I found film. I started dancing when I was like 5, 6 years old, like everybody else. You know, mom put me in ballet, and it just kind of went from there. But I fell in love with the art and the performance of dance. But once I graduated high school, I realized that I didn't want to be a performer in that sense, just because I felt like I had more to give the industry. And there's nothing wrong with becoming a professional dancer. I just felt like for me, that wasn't my purpose. So I decided to go into filmmaking. But while I was pursuing filmmaking, I was like, dang, I miss dance.
Yes.
I miss dance. And dance is literally like what drives me. I feel like myself when I'm dancing. Sometimes even on set, like, yeah, it's what I do, it's what I love. But you know how sometimes at work, you're like, I'm not really feeling it today. With dance, I'm always feeling it. And with dance, it just comes so naturally. And I feel so comfortable doing it, whether it's ballet, tap, jazz, modern hip hop. I did ballroom for a little bit. I just feel like we go together real bad.
Family.
Yeah, my fusion family.
So you started with fusion in...
Well, I started, yeah.
Pittsburgh?
Yes, I started with fusion. Wow.
I'm scared now.
I am, because where did you get this information from?
And I'm going to show you how I'm a cheat code.
Okay.
I didn't start my research until you got here.
That's fire.
Because there's an element to being in the room and feeling somebody's energy and seeing what they're naturally attracted to that leads to what I care about to research. Like, of course, I've been following you. I knew you were in film. I knew you danced. I literally just saw you dance a couple weeks ago. Not formally, but at the Shawn's party. Everybody knows that Shawn has the best parties in the world. But even like, it's just certain things as a writer, because I'm a writer first. So when you started dance, I started writing. 5th grade, 5th grade, I had a crush on my teacher. So like, my English teacher was my first muse. So I started writing more so to impress her, which I always say, women inspire everything. When it comes to a man, how you dress, how you think, all of it is kind of predicated on the women that come into your life. The men in your life teach you how to work. The women in your life teach you what's your reason for work.
You know, it's interesting. I think it's the opposite for me, at least just looking at my mom and my dad.
Really? That makes sense, because you're a woman. But as a man, even as a young boy, she used to, like, I have a photographic memory. So like, I can tell you the first time I seen you. I can tell you the first time. I'll be able to tell you what you had on at the Shawn's party in 10 years. I'll be able to tell you the first time I came. Like, it's just, I have a photographic memory. So even with school, it was a crutch. Like, I could see school is regimented. School has a rhythm. Monday, you start a chapter.
Right.
Tuesday and Wednesday, you practice with a team. Wednesday, you might break off in the groups. Thursday, you review. Friday, you take a test. I only need to go to class 2 days a week. Because I had it like this, my teacher found ways to keep me intrigued. So she was like, if you write out, I'll read it and I'll give you feedback. So that's how I started. But all of that comes full circle because it leads to everything. Writing led me to wanting to be in production. Just like dancing led you to want to be in production.
And you know what? When I got older, I realized how much storytelling exists within dance as well. But I didn't really understand that until I got older, and I was able to look back and realize, like, I really use dance as a form of expression. I use dance to sometimes show how I was feeling. How I'm feeling could be interpreted as a story. And I feel like that is really like the core of where I am in my career, like trying to use my 2 interests, my 2 passions, and just be authentically myself through them both and tell necessary stories. But I mean, that's not to say every project would have dance or every project would be on film, but I just feel like that is where my niches.
So do you think like when you get to the level where when you're calling the shots, like one of the first things I did when we got the studio, before we built sets, before I had any other thing, I put a basketball goal in because that's my passion. No matter what's going on, I'll come in and I can come in here in pitch black and shoot for hours. Do you think you'll put a small dance studio on all your sets? Like it's like the outlet for you.
You know, I have a desire to create like a studio on the side of town where I'm from. And in that studio,
I think y'all East Siders, man. I'm starting to love a few of them, but you know, I'm more of a. You know what's crazy though? My first I'm not from Atlanta. I'm from Oakland. So my first introduction to Atlanta was South DeKalb Mall. My brother moved off Candler when I was
that's my neighborhood.
Maybe 14, 15, and South DeKalb Mall was the best shit in the world to me. Like I didn't want to go to Nights. I didn't want to go to nothing. I'm like, nigga, they got a DMV in here.
Right. I got my license over there, yeah.
You can come over here and talk. Like, you can do everything inside the DeKalb Mall. So talk about what do you think is so unique about East Atlanta that kind of, y'all have this prominent presence now, more so. When I was growing up, because I'm a little older than you, T.I., everybody talked about the West Side. And now it's kind of moved where East Atlanta runs shit.
I don't know. I feel like it's just the feeling, the soul within the streets, within the community, is very familiar. Even if you're not from Atlanta, you know DeKalb County. Even if you're not from DeKalb, you know DeKalb. You know people from DeKalb. There's just a certain heart.
Even at the gentrification, y'all still have a lot of culture.
There's a lot of heart and soul from the East Side or in the East Side of Atlanta. And I don't know. I think everybody that's from there is just extremely proud. I mean, as everybody should, wherever you're from, you should be proud where you're from. But people from the East Side,
yeah. I was talking to Jid last week. I talk to Grip all the time. Shawn is from the East. Everybody from the East Side just has it's it's true confidence in where you're from. And what I mean by true confidence is you can be proud and y'all shout out where y'all from when it applies, but it's not a boastful energy.
Yeah.
It's just a quiet confidence. I'm from the East Side. I'm artistically, it's in my DNA. I don't even have to brag.
That is very true. A lot of people from the East Side do have an artistic trait to them, whether they're in the music industry or whether they're dancers or whether they paint or whatever. It's a certain aesthetic of people that are just fire from the East Side.
All right.
It's consistent.
All right, we gonna leave.
You pointed it out. I'm just elaborating.
So let's shift.
Okay.
Let's shift. So you started performing arts, that's. Then you went behind the camera. And you said you kind of just figured that out. Was it a moment where you was I need to be more in the power position behind the camera than being seen? And you're gorgeous, so that's not a natural thing for, naturally if I'm pretty or if everybody knows my talents, I would want my talents on display. What made you switch?
I think I just real early, I noticed the impact that the entertainment industry has on culture, on people, on the world. And I was I can really make an impact on people if I'm telling the stories, if I'm the one curating and creating the stories, especially stories that represent the Black community the way I would love for us to be represented, or stories that I would like for to be told, So I think I just saw the power that I could have from being a storyteller. And I was yeah, that's what I want to do.
Speaking of power, we're in I don't even want to say Renaissance because I don't think it's never been a time where women have been more powerful. So it's inception of women in power in media, in entertainment, more specifically Black women in media and power. You were a part of Wing. Tell people about that experience and tell people who don't know what Wing is.
Well, Wing, it no longer exists. The organization is gone. But it stands for...
Ocean, I see it's coming back.
It stands for Women in Entertainment Empowerment Network. And it was started by Belisha Butterfield-Jones, who is incredible. She's in the music industry. Lauren Lake, who is a really amazing mentor of mine. Sabrina Thompson, And then Christy Henderson, for Black women, started an organization for women of color between a certain age range, and basically just help them and train them how to get into the industry. And you have to audition, and the audition process was rigorous. One of the hardest things I've ever done in my life.
He beat out 375 people.
Yeah, the numbers were wild. They picked about 25 of us.
Out of 400, right?
Probably around that number, if not a little bit more. But yeah, we had to go to New York, and it was an in-person audition. And you basically had to sell yourself, pitch yourself. You had to, on the spot, explain like why you deserve to be in this industry, why you deserve to have a spot or a seat at the table, as some people would say. And then once you make it, you get, I think it's like a 4-week program. You go through a 4-week program, and you just train. You're being trained by people in the industry. You're learning how to network. You're learning how to pitch yourself properly. You're learning how to be a woman in the industry and like make a mark and be limitless, as Lauren Lake would say. So yeah, it was a tough program, and that was actually my first time in New York.
Really? What year was this?
2018. Well, it wasn't my first time in New York, but it was my first time living in New York. Like, I was in New York for like a month and a half or so.
You remember what part y'all lived in?
So people lived everywhere, but I stayed in Jersey with my grandmother. And so I just commuted from Jersey to New York every day.
Half train. All about.
It was
I
wild.
used to live in Jersey. Well, my aunt still lived in Jersey City.
Yeah.
That was my exception too. When I started going to New York, maybe 13, 14 years ago, I just always had this fascination with going to New York, not to feel like New York is better than everywhere. I just felt like they was ahead. And I wanted to go get ahead. And I wanted to come back and be able to use that.
You know what? And I can agree. I feel like New York taught me how to hustle. Like, I was forced to, especially like going from New Jersey to New York, like having to be up. Like,
it's like they wake up hustling. Like, before
I always
they brush
tell
their
people,
teeth.
I'm like, even the homeless people have hustles in New York.
Facts.
You know, so like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be hustling. So I feel like going through Ween was a great start for me, because I graduated college in 2017, and then I did Ween in 2018, and then my career really just didn't stop from there.
So do you think your why you deserve to be in this industry that you had to basically present,
I had to prove myself.
do you think it's changed though?
What you
Like
mean?
your answer. If you had the interview now, do you think your answer would be different?
Yeah, because at the time I wasn't very sure of what I wanted, or like how I wanted to leave my mark. I just knew that I wanted in. I didn't know specifically what I wanted. Now I'm very specific.
So, switching a little bit out of work, but you found it through work. Because I read somewhere where you were saying how, you did all these things, and then you still wasn't happy, or wasn't as happy as you probably thought you could be, and you started trying to keep yourself busy, like, I'm a fill time. And I think a lot of times that's what they accuse, quote unquote, workaholics. And it can be true. Sometimes you're doing it to stay busy, but then sometimes it's just that you really love it. And so it's like finding that. I don't believe in work-life balance. That's just, I don't think it exists.
It doesn't.
But I also believe what I do from a philanthropic perspective, whether that's direct charities or helping people or giving back, that keeps me, that's my balance. That's my home. And you said you found one of the keys to happiness was service. Is that how you started Just Us?
That's my baby.
I'm gonna make you cry like 3 times, but keep on.
So Just Us, I founded in 2020, ironically. But before Just Us, what was the name of it? I had a previous organization called Dynasty.
Dynasty.
Yeah, the next generation of women. And through Dynasty, we were doing like a lot of mentorship stuff, a lot of girls, women empowerment things. But as I matured and as I got older, I was like, you know what? Black people, we need more support from our community. And God just really put it on my heart to kind of shift my focus. But like with my focus shifting for the organization, I felt that there had to be a name change. So then that's when I changed the name from Dynasty to Just Us. And then I said, ironically, I founded it in 2020, literally January 2020, because that's when we remember all the protests and stuff started. So we were very busy in 2020, literally got the name, changed the name, built the website. And then Ahmaud Arbery hit the internet, So, yeah, my passion for justice really just came for my desire and love to help people, one, but also help the Black community. Like, that's where it really all lies for me.
So one of my questions, I'm glad you kind of segued into it, where it was like, I knew Dynasty was the first name for justice based on my research, but
Go
it's
figure.
one of my, I understand it to a certain point, but I also hate it to a certain point where it's like, we have this intersectionality where it's like Black women, Black men, or how hard it is for a Black woman, how hard it is for a Black man. And I feel like it becomes divisive at a certain point. So I knew that you kind of incorporated some of those same principles of empowering each other, and you made it man and woman. Do you feel like some of the empowerment movements have taken a turn, or do you just think it's a time and place for a woman's movement and a time and place for a Black people movement?
I feel like there's always a time for both, but because of the internet and, you know, how people, you know, push things or like try and focus people's attention on certain issues, like it feels like there's only a certain time for certain issues to be acknowledged or addressed. But I mean, you have people who are doing great community work that aren't even being acknowledged, and you know, their work is very more low key just because it's not a part of the Black Lives Matter movement.
But they're not front facing. Like,
right.
Beyonce, nobody knows that how, a lot of people don't know how involved Beyonce and Jay-Z was in the early years.
Right. A lot of people's work might be silent, you know, but I feel like there's always a time and place for everything to be in the forefront. But it's just like, unfortunately, because of media, some things just get pushed to the forefront more than others.
And that's why I wanted to create a network and wanted to, instead of just having a studio, like, I could make enough money in the studio with our set design and our events and all of these different things and not necessarily do media. But I think media is more powerful than anything else that we have.
It is.
Tangibly on the planet.
It is. That's why, what I said earlier, like, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be in this industry. It's powerful, and it's like people who have the right intentions need to be the ones that are running, you know, the shows.
Interesting. Now we're finna get into rapid fire, right?
Sure. I don't have a choice, you know?
So I like rapid fire because I like to pick what you like, what you love against each other. Okay. Right?
Oh, gosh.
So,
okay.
First thing is, if you could pick any trophy from the EGOT family, you only get to get one your whole life, which one would it be?
Probably Emmy.
Why?
Because television is where my heart is.
Shonda Rhimes or Ava DuVernay?
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna pick Ava. Only because, and I'm not saying that to like downplay her more than Shonda, but I say Ava because the type of story she tells is the type of stories that I can relate to. Shonda's stories are very entertaining, very drama-filled. Love them. How to Get Away with Murder. Murder is one of my favorite shows. But like, Ava just kind of has like a soul and heart that feels familiar to me with my storytelling. Yeah.
John Singleton or Spike Lee?
John Singleton.
Kelsey Grammer or Mara Brock Akil?
Oh, Mara Brock Akil.
I'll get some good names.
Mara Brock Akil. That is my girl.
Living single or girlfriends? Since you be trying to act like you like you're a 90s.
I mean, I am.
90s head.
I'm girlfriends.
Really? Why?
I have memories of my mom watching Girlfriends.
So well, person. Damn, now I can't ask the other one.
Ask it.
I was gonna say girl. I felt like you was gonna say Girlfriends, but I didn't know. Not for that reason.
Okay.
But then I was gonna go Girlfriends or Insecure.
That's a hard one. That is a hard one.
If you was on Drink Champs right now, you have to take a shot.
I would.
But you mad, so you don't have to take a shot. That means you gotta pick.
I'm gonna pick Insecure because I picked Girlfriends for the last one.
The Game will be a mess.
Are my bosses watching?
Who knows? They both. You got bosses on both sides, don't you?
Mm-hmm. And I would love to keep relationships with both.
You go pass? I give you one pass. You gonna take it down? I might have a harder question later if you get one pass.
I'm gonna pass.
Success or love?
You know what? What's so crazy is this question is what I've been thinking about for like the past few months. Because I think for me,
We all.
You said what?
Haven't we all?
Because I mean, it's just like you get so busy, and it's like work is great, but it's like if there's no one to spend it with, or like you don't have a family, then. And I'm a very, first of all, I'm emotional. I'm an emotional person, and so I feel like not being able to have somebody.
That's dangerous.
Why is it dangerous?
For a few reasons, but finish your thought.
But I'm emotionally mature though. Like I'm very in control of like I am. I don't know. The faces you're making is like, oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Just sad. But you choose love.
I choose love over success.
So, would you be a stay-at-home mom?
No.
If you found the love of your life?
No.
So is your answer real?
I you can't twist the question like that. Okay, what I'm saying is that I'm not willing to sacrifice love for a career. Wait.
But you'll sacrifice career for love.
I will put a pause on my career in order to focus on a personal and love life, and then I will get back to my job.
Do you think that's normally
How it works?
Do you think that's still how it works? Do you think
I feel like if
women sacrifice that more than men do at this point?
I do, because men aren't the ones. Now we're about to get into a conversation.
I said we was gonna
Because men aren't the ones that are carrying children. Women physically, we go through for a very long time, from before she finds out that she's pregnant to months and months and months after the baby is born. Like physically you go through so much that a man just cannot relate to. Even while she's pregnant, you can be at work chilling.
What you mean chilling?
Y'all chilling.
You don't chill at work?
No, but I'm saying like your mental, like your physical, like you're not feeling sick. You're not having to
Physically.
Right. I'm not saying like work
Or
you're
mentally
chilling.
or emotionally though, you're still there. Like it's no way we can ever compete with what y'all go through physically.
Right.
But mentally and emotionally, I don't think it's ever accounted for what we go through.
And that's fair. That's fair. But I'm just saying, like, if we're comparing it to, like, if you said that the question was, do women have to sacrifice more than men? And I say the answer is yes.
So, dream project, right?
I'm just gonna switch the topic.
No, this is
okay. Okay.
Let's say you get your dream project. We haven't even discussed whatever that is right now, right? You get your dream project. It's paying the money.
Mm-hmm.
You had a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Would you let your husband be a stay-at-home dad so you can go do your dream project?
Will I let him?
Yeah, like will you financially allow him to not work? Sure. No matter, no ifs, ands, or buts. You believe that? You believe that? She tried to keep it straight.
Because, okay. If the conversation of him being a stay-at-home dad is even coming up, obviously we're financially in a good place, right?
Not necessarily. Could just be a big bag come and go.
In my life, I'm only speaking for Lauren, Erica, Ashley, Thomas. I have 2 middle names.
I know.
Speaking for me, if somebody's going to be a stay-at-home parent, then the money I would hope prayerfully, is in a good place where one parent can stay home. Or be an entrepreneur. And
No, if y'all have to stay, meaning full time.
he's not making no bread at home.
Yeah. He cooks, cleans, he brings the kid on set. Like he handles all of that, the homework, all of that.
The kids can come to set. That's what I would love.
In small doses.
That's what I would
Not
love.
full time, of course, but like, if I'm married with children and I'm on my set. I'm sure my son or daughter could.
I mean, you know what?
Sex.
I'm just gonna be prayerful that my husband is somebody that I can. You know, we have great communication where you can stop looking at the camera, where we can, you know, communicate and figure out, okay, what works best.
When the last time you paid for a date?
What?
Just asking. I like the challenge. Idealism.
You about to make me put my personal business out there. How much of this is about to be used?
Answer my question, please. You have no edit control here, Miss Thomas.
I'm gonna be in the green room.
Never.
I mean, what
The
is?
last time you gave a man money for a bill?
I'm not in a relationship,
Ever. I ain't saying now.
and I'm only 28.
Ever.
Never.
See what I'm saying? Pretty girl privilege.
How was that pretty girl privilege? If I've never been in a relationship, why?
You've never been in a relationship?
In my adult,
What's adult life? 25 and
Life.
up or 18 and up?
you know, college and up,
22 and up. So in the last 6 years you've been single.
I've been working.
Now let's get into that. Why is it more okay for a woman to say, I'm focused on me and my goals, I don't have time to date, but when a man says it, he got to just be lying because he want to deal with multiple women?
Who said that?
That's right.
I didn't say that.
That's right.
See, the thing about me,
I know if I didn't get you now, right? Go ahead.
the thing about me is that I'm a realist, all right? And I'm also,
East side.
it's the east side. You know what I'm saying? But like, no, seriously, I'm a realist and I understand that everybody goes through things. And whether that means a man or a woman, I'm not selfish when it comes to like letting people focus on them, because if this is somebody that I'm interested in, yeah, I want them to be their best selves if we're going to be in a situation or a relationship or whatever the case may be. So I'm not gonna, oh, he just saying that's a child, no. And if I feel like that, then I'm not interested. If I feel like you're really giving me the excuse of you just have to focus on yourself because you want to mess with multiple women.
Or you're just busy.
If he's just busy,
Yeah.
then that's fine. I'm busy too. I mean, I might get in my feelings a little bit, again, because I'm emotional, but I'm not going to take it personal.
So what if he get in his field?
About what?
You being busy. Cause you busy.
Yeah.
Is that one of those things where men shouldn't be as emotional about that as a woman is?
I mean, what type of woman do you want?
I'm just saying.
Because no, I'm not asking you. I'm just asking like,
The viewers want a woman like you, so you try to.
well, I'm also the type, where I am in my life right now, I'm the type of woman that would be open to making time.
So say I wanted to take you on a date. We go on a date, and I tell you I ain't had a relationship in 7 years.
Dang, why?
You ain't had one in 7 years.
That's true. Okay.
But you see the natural reflex?
Yeah.
So I think that's just,
It's not I think it's just more of a shock because I feel like it's normal to hear that women aren't in relationships, but with men, you just hear more about them being in relationships or situationships or whatever.
situationships and relationships, but I'd say, I'm sure you've had a situationship since 22.
Next question. Next question.
I love when the image comes down. So
the image, I am getting a little comfortable, you know, slouched in my
you know,
chair a little
I
bit.
understand body language. I understand. You know, you lean left when you focus. You lean right when you're comfortable. You lean up and fix your posture when you're a little uncomfortable. Like,
I'm just trying to make sure my hair is laying straight, that's all.
the hair is late. Do you think it's harder for a man or a woman to date in this industry?
In the industry,
Working in this industry?
I think a woman.
Because
Because I feel like as a woman, you have to.
you gotta say that. You gotta say, I'm sorry. You gotta say, as a black woman. That's.
As a
I'm
black
putting that on a
woman,
shirt.
As a black woman, you have to keep a certain professionalism at work. Guys have hit on me at work, but let's say it was the other way around. I would be questioned by whoever was around, like, oh, you know, she was trying to talk to, like, now people are spreading rumors, but for guys to hit on women in the workplace.
It happens too.
What?
oh, he was trying to
Yeah, but it's not frowned upon. For women, I feel like
pre-Me Too or post-Me Too. I think post-Me Too, like now if I have a meeting with a woman, I have somebody else come in the meeting automatically, no matter what. Because not even just as a safeguard, it's also just like, so nothing
can be assumed. Or,
yeah. Because a lot of times, the same way I think men try to use power positions in this industry to reel in women, women of course use their attractiveness.
They do, and I'm not saying that women are just like these angels on earth that don't have any sin or don't, do guys wrong, because there are a lot of good guys and then there are a lot of really manipulating women. But for your question, I feel like that it's harder for women to date because you want people to take you seriously. And it's like if you're coming to work and people who you're talking about a love life or trying to date, they're like,
so that applies to whether you're dating somebody in the industry or not.
Well, that's how I interpreted your question. Like,
have you ever lost somebody that you really loved because of your career? How long ago, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean...
And would you make the same decision?
I think I would still choose myself because I just feel like the people that are still around, if they were meant to be in this season or this part of my life or experience this Lauren, then they would still be here.
One of my quotes is, love should be addition, not subtraction. So if you love me or you say you want to love me, your focus shouldn't be taking something I love away from me. Whether that's my career, whether that's my friend group,
That's true.
whether that's my relationship with my parents or my relationship with my son, or
That's very true.
I think a lot of times because we live in an insecure-based society now, and insecurity makes you want to control everything. So because insecurity is kind of pushed on people. They don't realize it, but everything is, if he don't text you back this quick, or if she don't do this, that's like, it's conditioning people to be insecure, so they want to control everything. So now it's like, if you don't let me control a piece, something you care about, then you don't care about me. And I think that's probably going to be our downfall. Because
as a people,
as black people, I don't think other cultures, I could be wrong, I don't think other cultures struggle with that because they are not conditioned that it's all or nothing for everything.
Right. I feel like that, I don't know why, just from the outside looking in, it seems like other people, other cultures just have it more together. I don't know.
Have more control of than me.
Or I'm just saying like from the...
But I think that's the domino effect, right? So like you say something bad about a Jewish person, they hop right on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't let these narratives fester. If you look at social media now, we have the same narratives and the same conversations over and over and over and over again, where it's literally like, it's predicating us to be dysfunctional.
That's good. And like by what we see, people, whether they know it or not, or whether they're like aware that media is adapting the way they think or the way they behave, it is.
We love to say it's just entertainment, but like...
I love to say that about some of the music I listen to. I was like, I'm not listening to the lyrics for real.
But it's not true. Now, granted, you might have a mental capacity higher than most where you can use discernment. But the first thing you learn via music or video. When A Different World was on TV, more people just went to HBCUs. Like, it's not a coincidence. When, one of the things I always push and why I love the original, I gotta admit, I haven't watched the Game in probably 2 seasons, the last 2 seasons. One of the things I loved about the Game and other shows originally was it wasn't all predicated on cheating. Like, the first 3 to 4 seasons was predicated on, Derwin and Melanie being young and trying to build their careers.
Derwin being immersed into this new
different
world.
Culture and all of this, right? But like, if you look at shows like Martin and Fresh Prince, those women never got cheated on. Jamie Foxx, they never got cheated on. Like if you really look at it, they had a show, they had a intro, a arc, a plot, conflict, resolution, like any show.
Do you think that kind of plays into the fact that those are like sitcoms and not dramas?
No, because I think whether it's a sitcom or a drama, it's programming.
Right.
What they chose to put on is what they chose to put on.
That's true.
Right? And there is dramatic portions or elements or episodes of all of them. Like they dealt with very, a wide range.
But they did it in a tasteful way.
Because they controlled it.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm agreeing with you. Like they were very much so in control of how they wanted Black people to be seen. For example, like the Cosby Show, like a very positive Black family.
And he was very, very, from everything I've seen, and I'm like a culture junkie. Everything I've seen, forget who Bill Cosby is in his life. But, Malcolm Jamal Warner did interviews talking about how he was specific about what he wasn't allowing them to do on the show, from going in the writer's room and making them do rewrites and all these different things. But it was because we had Black leadership in those positions. But like now, if every Black woman, like my original, I'm going to hop into writing and production was, I really looked at it, if there's no Black woman on TV at the time. At the time, it was like maybe 5th season of Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder. There was no Black woman on TV dating a Black man that wasn't getting cheated on or beat up. And then the two most powerful women on TV, Black women on TV, only dated white men.
Olivia Pope
and
Annalise Keating.
They only dated white men or slept with white men because sometimes they was the mistress. So, like, it's just those little anecdotal things that control the way we look at each other, the way we trust each other.
That's very true.
So I always tell people, like, I'm never going to expect Black women to, quote unquote, be more willing, be more trusting, because they don't trust us. Everything they see is what we do bad. Like right now, you can get on the internet and say, F Black men, they don't do nothing, and you'll have a strong argument for it.
Right.
So I just think it's a big part of how we control every narrative, not just the narrative on, like, if you want to do a show, you get to control that. But I think you doing a show, and let's say Shawn is doing a show, y'all should talk. Like, we should have those conversations like, hey, I'm not trying to run your show, but, this might have a domino effect in our culture that you're not thinking about. And that's why I like what Variety is doing with, like, director,
the actors, not actors.
Actors, because they're having these conversations across the table with other Black people in the space.
Yeah. I will say to that point that I think that Black people should be open to being critiqued by each other on our art. Like, a lot of people, and rightfully so, like, it's okay to be sensitive about what you do.
About my shit. Eric about it.
Right. But, like, I just feel like we should be open. I just feel like sometimes we as Black people are so closed-minded to getting opinions from other people because we're so protective of it, or we have like a certain message that we're trying to portray. And of course, like, every piece of art isn't going to have a positive message, or it isn't going to be like a Black power message, and that's fine. We don't need a bunch of that.
We need all kids.
Right. we don't need all of that for every single piece of art. But I just think it would be enlightening if we start talking to each other during the process of creating.
It's ego, right? Like, what's the difference between ego and confidence? Or arrogant and confidence?
I mean, arrogance is a negative.
But what's the difference?
I think it's the mindset, right? Like, both are forms of being proud. But arrogance, I think, is more so like you're thinking about yourself, maybe. And, like, it's a selfishness where confidence maybe has a little bit of a selfless effect.
You know my definition, or what I think the difference is? Truth. So, like,
that was much more simple than mine.
So, like, the way I break it down is your ego gets you on stage. Your ego told you that you can go beat 400 girls. Your ego told you that you can go...
I didn't know that.
But that's what it is. Your ego is your protector.
No, that was my faith. My faith was talking.
Gotcha.
My ego was nowhere. I'm a very never mind.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say like I'm a very
Spiritual person.
well, not spiritual, but more so. Well, yes, spiritual, but I was gonna say like am I sure I'm supposed to be in this room? Like that's
So you have imposter syndrome.
yeah,
A lot still.
yeah.
I think that's important. Number one, I know it's a term that people have been using to describe and bringing more awareness to it. But I think like you got seven tools in your belt and you still feel that way. Why do you think that is? Is it never enough success or never enough accomplishments to just really not have that imposter syndrome?
I think it's more of like are you sure you want me to do this, God? Like, are you sure like I'm the one that you want to do this? Or like, this is a big task. Like, how is me, a little 5'2" and a half girl,
The hills.
how am I supposed to make such a large impact, on the community in the way that I do?
What scares you the most in life?
I think,
Not health related. So not your parents.
yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think dying without fulfilling my purpose. And I know that sounds cliche because
It's real though.
yeah, it's real. Like, I just don't want to leave this earth feeling like I haven't touched people, or like I haven't moved somebody to want to be better. And I'm not saying touch somebody in the sense of like, I want to inspire them and then like they become this big person. Like, no, like if I can have a conversation with you and you feel like that was a really good conversation, like I want to go and tap into like who it is I'm supposed to be. It's like, okay, I've done something there. So it's like whatever my purpose looks like in the way that God sees fit for me, it's like I just want to make sure I do that before I'm done.
Last rapid fire, then we're gonna get out of here. True Hill or Jodeci?
Jodeci.
Mary J. Blige or Mariah Carey?
Mariah Carey.
Beyonce or Rihanna?
Beyonce.
Kendrick or J. Cole?
Jay-Z.
She won in. I got a Rockefeller tattoo.
Really?
Yes. Last two things. Who do you most want to inspire? And what's a quote that you live by? And then I'll let you get out the hot seat.
I think I want to inspire, and like it's not like inspire people to be a filmmaker or like inspire people to be a dancer, but like I really, really, really have like a soft spot for Black girls, young Black girls.
Do you feel like you have to apologize for that? Or like,
What
do
you
you feel
mean?
like, I think, I'm co-founder in an all boys school. I do a lot of stuff for young Black boys. And at one point I really started to feel like,
You're leaving the girls out.
yeah. And I was getting pushback for that a lot of times. And I got 3 sisters.
Yeah.
I got a goddaughter. My best friend passed out 09. I've been taking care of the daughter since then. So it's not like I don't have an affinity
Yeah.
or a care for young Black girls, but I just felt like I needed to be a presence to young Black boys who don't have a lot of male presence.
Right.
And just because I did things unorthodox.
And that's fair.
I really felt guilty about it at some point.
I mean, I feel like the guilt it's appropriate because it's like you don't want to leave anybody out. But and I'm the same way. Like I have brothers, and I have on my mom's side I'm the only, well, not anymore, but mostly male cousins. So I grew up around a lot of Black men, and that's not to say that I'm not trying to pour into young Black men, but I just feel like the way I'm able to connect with young Black girls, it just comes very, very naturally. I'm able to understand like where they are because I was a young Black girl. Like you were a young Black boy. Like that's nothing against Black girls and that's nothing against Black boys for me. But I just feel like if you were to ask me who I want to inspire, it's like I definitely want Black girls to know that they can grow up and be whatever it is that they want to be. And there's literally nothing that can stop them from doing that, especially in the creative space. like, girl,
We'll do it.
yeah, go do it. So yeah.
I got one more.
Okay.
If you could, as a filmmaker, do a documentary on any artist, not named Beyonce or Jay-Z, who would it be? And then which Atlanta artist?
So these are two separate questions, right?
Yep.
Wait, so any artist and then an Atlanta artist?
Any artist not from Atlanta and then an Atlanta artist.
I would do a documentary on Boyz II Men.
That's interesting. Page show this. But go ahead.
You didn't ask me.
I
Boyz
know,
II
but
Men.
like normally people who are like heavy on the Jodeci side don't really rock with Boyz II Men.
That's crazy. I really appreciate the people that like their talent is raw. I'm a big fan of Wanye. So I just feel like I want to know their story. Like, I mean, we understand like the new addition to Boyz II Men pipeline and like we get that, but it's like, what else? And then they're so good. They're so good. And I just feel like there's just so much story behind them. And even still to this day, like, I'm pretty sure they have so much more to give.
I feel like Boyz II Men should have that Temptations movie.
They should have what New Edition had with a new phenomenal film.
But I think specifically because there's so much in the Boyz II Men story that is that's never been told. I think Drew Hill, because they had such big stars, a lot of those stories you had got good pieces of them, and then they just had to bring it all together. But Drew Hill, like, I mean, Boyz II Men, you don't really like. It's people who can't name anybody outside of Wyatt.
Shawn.
Shawn Stockman, of course, but for us. But I'm talking about, like, he's not a household name like he should be. Atlanta artist.
A documentary on an Atlanta artist. That's not Lil Baby.
It's done already.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's not Lil Baby. I'm a big fan of Lil Baby.
Billy.
I know, you told me.
Right where you sitting at?
You told me.
Right where you sitting?
That's crazy, right?
Don't shine like 3 times. Should compare with Killer sometime.
Y'all don't ever call me. I don't ever call a player, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm gonna go on my DM when I first invited her to come here like a year and a half ago.
That message is not there.
It's there.
It's not there.
It's there. And I'm gonna find the message with Smart. You know, y'all vet off the state people. Y'all clicked up like that. So I told Smart, but I was like,
I think when Smart hit me up,
I had our age.
I was on BMF and I probably didn't have the time.
They shot the release sale too. You still ain't give me art.
Okay, back to the question.
You can't be a little bit.
An Atlanta artist, old or new.
Anybody? Elgin.
Jagged Edge.
Interesting. You like groups.
I like singers.
Okay.
But okay, if we don't say Jagged Edge.
Hold on. What part of town? What part of town Monica from?
I don't know where.
She ain't from these sides.
No.
Monica, Sierra.
Sierra. Oh, I forgot about Sierra.
I'm deep, dog.
I think, Sierra would be a good documentary.
I'm deep.
I totally forgot about Sierra.
East side.
And what's crazy is that, like, the East Side artists, or even, like, Black.
I got a documentary. We shot a documentary with Black. It's out, but it's not out. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
You know Cantrell?
Mm-hmm.
So Cantrell, Smart, and Black, and Blue. You know Blue? Blue Woods?
I don't think so.
He would have been also too. Best, like, animated, like, Blue is a machine. Mm-hmm. Like, his 3D graphics and everything, amazing. Mm-hmm. What about us? But they shot a documentary with Stankonia in 2015, and it's an album with it. The album never came out, but the documentary is on YouTube.
I'm trying to think of other Atlanta artists. I'm a really big R&B fan, like really big
My R&B playlist better than yours.
But I also understand the importance of hip hop and like exposing people who aren't used to or understand the culture of hip hop. Like sometimes those stories are very, very necessary too. It would just have to be a hip hop artist that I
know who I want to do it. Outkast. And that sounds cliche because they're the biggest, but they also have
there's no
story. Documentation. Like none. Or Dungeon Family as a whole, but really, like, Outkast has this, they're probably the biggest group or biggest artist ever that nobody really knows.
You know, can I change my answer?
Which one?
The Atlanta?
From Jagged Edge? You can't use Outkast.
No. I want to do a documentary on Atlanta's influence on the music industry.
You cheated, but I'll take it.
Like, so edit everything else before that.
Nah, we put it all in.
But only use this part.
Who gonna be the EP, me or you?
You. I'll let you be the EP because I want to tap into the creative side a little bit so you can handle everything else.
Okay, that's fair. Not a quote. What's the quote you live by?
My dad not lives by it, but he says it to me and my brother all the time. Make yourself available and God got the hard part. Basically saying that, like, all you have to do is present yourself, plant your seeds and just put your faith out there, and then God will carry you the rest of the way. So
that's gonna help you with this 7-year relationship drug. What you told was the trash. You so trash.